Hi, gang. This is Alan Torgerson. We're going to have a fantastic time tonight at the Tempe High 50th class reunion from 1967. We're putting this together so that you can be a part of what you missed. We love you. Have a great time, and we hope you really enjoy this. Bye.
John Paulson worked in assembly, self in transportation. 2 kids now residing in Lexington, Kentucky.
My name is Chuck Ramsey. I was in the Navy when I got out of high school. I worked in the semiconductor equipment industry for 33 years. Got out of that, bought a UPS store, and just recently we sold that. And I'm retired, have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And I have 2 grandkids, a boy and a girl. So I'm pretty happy.
Hi, my name is Gordon Dudley. After graduating from Tempe, I went to Mesa College, graduated from ASU, then went to University of Arizona Law School, after which I went in the Marine Corps. I was a judge advocate, came back to the Phoenix metro area in '78, and I've been practicing law in Phoenix and Scottsdale since that time. I have 3 kids, all boys, from 40 to 35, 7 grandkids. One of my sons lives in Arizona, one lives in California, and one has lived in Israel for the last 14 years, where he's a licensed tour guide.
Was there anyone you were hoping to see here?
Well, I've seen Chuck before. I was here in '87 or '06 and saw him and Dave Thompson.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys I would like to see is Terry White and Randy or Earl Gertz.
My thoughts were that I hoped the printing on the name tags was large so that I would be able to read it from when I'm standing across from somebody.
Cynthia Atwood. I was a teacher, retired, didn't teach a whole lot, traveled the world with my husband with job transfers. I live in North Carolina in Chapel Hill right now. 2 boys, no grandchildren, 1 married.
Hi, I'm Daphne Livingston Rutz, and I live in Payson. I'm a realtor up there. Probably never will retire. I have 2 daughters, both married, and 2 granddaughters.
I'm Peggy Gocher McDonald, among many. Peggy Monet Gocher McDonald. However, I'm retired. I sold new homes for builders. I as well took care of my father with Alzheimer's for 2.5 years, and I am living the life with my husband. And life is good. Thank you. Nice to see my friends.
I'm Susie Thompson Boyd. Lived in Arizona the whole time. Never went anywhere else. Have 1 daughter, 2 grandchildren. Married my high school sweetheart, John. Was in banking for years. Retired, now taking care of him.
Your favorite class or some favorite memories that you had?
I just had a good time in high school. It was a great time of life. So
They're all the best. And I went to beauty school down the street half the time, so I was halfway there and halfway not.
Can't pinpoint one thing. Met my husband. That's the best thing.
And how'd that work out for you?
Well, 49 years, we're still together. So
Steve Baker, retired. A lot of different careers. Law enforcement, investments, college professor, you name it. Wife, 2 kids. They're both, well, my son's getting married in December. Daughter has a little granddaughter, so we're happy. Finally get to see them. They moved back here from Colorado.
Lee Bradbury. My career has been as a pilot. 21 years in the Navy flying A6 intruders, and then I became a commercial airship pilot.
My name is Jane Randall Wright. It's great to be here with all the classmates. Graduated with a degree in English, met my Mr. Wright, and we had 9 children. And we now have almost 38 grandchildren. Life is good, and life turned out better than I could have ever imagined. We've had lots of fun, and we've had lots of heartache, and just like everybody else, but we're all moving forward and doing great. Glad to be here.
Ellie Graver Rover. I'm married, have 2 grown sons, have 4 grandchildren. I'm a retired teacher. Live in Georgia.
What activities or clubs or things were you involved with?
Photography club, chess club. Was on the concert choir my senior year. That's about it. Oh, and in drama. Acted in several plays, was the director of the senior musical.
Photography, which turned into a high school job while I was there. What I'm more known from the school is being the guy taking the pictures. But I was involved in the technical part of the drama department, doing the shows, the lights and things. Radio club. That was my main interest when I was in school.
I was pretty social. Had lots of friends. Was a cheerleader for a few years and was in the National Honor Society and was a class officer and in the choir for a couple of years. Had a great time in choir and drama. You bet.
Future Teachers of America, which became my future.
So I'm Karen Severson. I have an interesting anecdote. The lady next to me on my right, we have been classmates since kindergarten. But as for me personally, I've been a teacher for 47 years, and I have married and raised 2 beautiful young ladies.
My name is Marilyn Rice, and Karen next to me has done the good work for her 40 plus years. I have 2 children. I was a lawyer. I was a prosecutor for a few years. I have 2 children who are both scientists now.
I'm Bruce Preston. I knew Marilyn back in high school, and I don't think you and I ever dated.
No,
but I've been an attorney, and I'm still working. So 2 kids, and we're here.
Guys, thinking back to your high school years, how do you think your personality is today compared to back to when you were in high school?
In high school, I would say I was very quiet, but I have come into my own, and now I have become very outspoken.
I would say the same for me, maybe less than Karen, but I certainly have become a lot more outspoken and very much more fierce in protecting those who need to be protected.
I was pretty quiet in high school. I've become pretty partisan politically, but I'll leave it at that.
In school, I was Eleanor Lee, but now I go by Sue, which is my first name. And I've been retired now, maybe 6 years. I worked for Xerox for 33 years. We have 4 children, 11 grandchildren. So we're busy.
Sounds like it. Somebody is. Hi, I'm Dave Thompson. I was known in school as Dave Thompson. I've had numerous careers. A number of things have happened. I went through the Coast Guard for 4 years, But yeah, I've got two daughters, 2 grandsons, a son-in-law I love dearly. So far, so good. I'm pleased to see myself every morning in the mirror. That means I'm still here. Yeah, still kicking. I wake up on the right side of the roots. That's good.
Dan Duvall. I'm still a local boy. I live in Chandler. I've had a 27-year history of electrical wholesale for a major supplier. From there, I went into my own business. I became a realtor and a residential appraiser. I'm still working that part-time. It's my own company. I love it. So every day above ground is a good day.
And what was going through your mind? Was there certain expectations you had or people you were hoping to see?
Oh, I was just hoping to remember everybody, first of all. But last night I did see a lot of my classmates, and I did remember them, and it was real nice to see them again. Yeah.
I was just hoping everybody had the same weight problem I had, or at least as much hair. You know, one of those.
Well, I've been part of the reunion committee, and we started this 9 months ago. So I understand what you women feel when you're pregnant and you're taking 9 months to deliver. It's been a long road, but it's been fun doing it. Not sure if I do it again, but it's been fun.
I'm Diana Pickett, Smiley, and I'm a retired teacher.
And I'm Sharon Decker, and I just retired recently. I was in the environmental business, and I have 2 children and a husband.
I'm Susan Smith, formerly Susan Timmer. Graduated, became a nurse, and worked for about 42 years. And I says, enough. I saw it coming, what it was going to be like. And my husband's in the Air Force, and so I was very active in the military for him. I was president at every base we were at. So I helped for scholarships, everything. I did everything for him and enjoyed it. And we have 2 children, 2 girls, and they're in their 40s. I won't tell them their age. And 2 grandchildren.
Hi, Neil Speth. I went to technical school, became a surgical tech in 1969. Did that for 7 years at St. Joe's, went in the Air Force, did the same thing for 20 plus, retired in 96. Got out and worked at Good Sam for 14 and a half years. In 62, I retired. We enjoy antiquing, Blakely pottery ware and Watt pottery ware, and I enjoy collecting baseball cards. Thank you much.
Guys, thinking back to your high school years, was there a club or a certain activity or anything that you were involved with?
I was in the concert choir. We had a couple of musicals put on. And according to the yearbook I studied in preparation for this, I see I was in the Tri-High Y, which I can't remember what it is. But it seems like the concert choir always kept us really busy and lots of fun.
Well, at the risk of being repetitive, I was in concert choir and in the musicals, and that was a big deal. I was also in thespians and did some plays, so it was a big deal for me. Yeah.
I was in the band for the first 2 years, and then I says, I'm not marching anymore. I'm playing ball.
What did I do? I was in FFA for 1 year, and then basketball for 1 year, and baseball for my 4 years there, lettered twice. So that was that and trying to graduate on time.
Name is Nancy Morrell Swanson, and I moved to San Diego in 1972 and stayed there ever since. Married, 3 kids, 9 grandchildren. I went into the hotel business, even with my elementary ed degree, and stayed in it for years, and it was a truly fun business. Couldn't have picked a more fun career.
And I am Jennifer Watts Hanson Bodden, and Nancy and I were really best friends in high school, so we've known each other for a long time. And anyway, I haven't actually worked outside the home, but my first husband passed away, but we moved to Hawaii and had a blast. Right after we got married, we moved over to the big island of Hawaii and had 2 of our children there. And it was so wonderful. We loved all the people. It was just a fabulous beginning to a marriage. And we came back and had another one and then adopted another one. And so I've lived in Mesa ever since. And just, I love being an Arizona native. I'm a native, born and raised. So, and love Tempe High, love all of our good friends.
Hi, my name is Lori Hutchings Hodge, and I moved back to Canada in 1974 because I was from there. And I worked for the government for like 34 years, retired, and I've been retired for 10 years now. We have one daughter, we have two beautiful granddaughters, and we're now snowbirds. We spend the summer in Canada, Alberta, and we spend the winters here in Chandler.
Ladies, who were some of the folks that you were hoping to see here tonight, whether you've seen them or maybe didn't see them?
Jennifer. And I did get to see her.
Yeah,
I think of who else I wanted to see. Charlotte Payne I was looking for, but I haven't seen her.
Yeah, it's too hard to come up with it, but Daphne Livingston, Charlotte Payne, and Charlene Mills, and
yeah, Charlene. See, it comes as you remind me, I think of them. Yeah.
Can I just add that I actually have 17 grandkids, and my first one died, and I remarried, and we have 44 grandchildren between us.
Okay, I think there's a prize for
12
this.
children and 44 grandchildren. So, yeah, so try remembering all those birthdays.
I was hoping to see Mila Bloodworth and Pam Tolarski and I don't know, just quite a few. I haven't seen anyone since our 10-year reunion. Actually, I was here back in Arizona for my 10-year reunion because I was on my honeymoon with my husband. So I've been married 40 years, of course. So yeah, thank you.
Hey, Sue Mobley, Schumann. I'm retired, enjoying it. Oh, I would work for the city of Mesa, tax and licensing. 4 grandkids, and they're wonderful. That's all I can say.
I'm Deanie Hall. I have 3 children, and they all graduated from Tempe High, just like I did. And my mother did, and my grandfather did. I retired from SRP as a senior buyer, and some of my best memories are of these ladies when I was younger, and good memories, very good memories.
Pam Tolarski, AKA now it's Bradley. I'm still working because I like to shop. So I work retail so I can fund my, whatever it's called.
Habit.
My habit, thank you. And I have 4 kids and 8 grandkids. Still live in Tempe, living the life.
Leslie Cosper, no children, no marriages, had business and lots of animals. Living in Scottsdale. Retired.
Sandy Apodaca Baden, 2 sons, 1 daughter-in-law, no grandchildren, retired, living the dream. Retired from Kyrene School District.
Mila Calvin Bloodworth Smith Kling. I'm retired. I worked for the CASA program in Prescott, Yavapai County, which is court-appointed special advocates for kids in foster care. And after Prescott, I married my boyfriend of 20 years, and we're now living in Maricopa. And I'm telling you, we had a ball in high school. Remember the time we rented motor scooters and went to North High? Yeah, we didn't know how to drive them, but we did. We got there.
That's awesome. Ladies, what are some of the fun memories you have from your high school days?
Going to the UDI after school, sometimes ditching to go to the UDI after school or during school, and just hanging out with these people.
Yeah, I think I remember I ditched once, and I was living on the edge. And when Mila mentions about getting the motorcycles and going to North, I told my parents what I was doing, and they didn't let me go. I was the only one that didn't get in trouble or go to the hospital after that. Remember the football games and watching all my friends either playing on the field or cheering or twirling, or good memories. Precious.
For sure. Same thing with the UDI, and our friend Margaret painter. Margaret Sello isn't here tonight. Her mom still lives on Mill Avenue, Sello Sporting Goods, where the store where half of these letter sweaters all came from. Yes, her parents' house was right on Mill, and we'd hang out there for boys to go by and yell and scream in her front yard.
Wait, I remember something else. We would go out at nighttime and we would throw water balloons at cars when they went by, and then they would chase us down the alley trying to catch us. Yeah, a lot of fences. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember Slave Day.
Oh yes.
We bought Steve Rich.
Oh boy.
Awesome. It was a great time. He had a convertible. He had to drive us all over town.
Which is very political now.
Yes.
Slave Day.
No more. I remember one memory I have. I got in trouble for spending the night with Sue because I had asked to go to a football game and the dance, and my dad said, no, you can't. So about an hour later, I came back and said, can I spend the night with Sue? And my mom said, sure. And so I did. And my dad said, she's at the football game. And she said, no, she wouldn't do that. But she did. And my mother came to the football game and they announced my name over the loudspeaker.
Wow.
You don't remember that?
Oh, that's bad.
Sandy, come to the ticket booth. Your mother's waiting for you. Oh!
I remember a lot of fun things, and none of it had to do with education. We used to, once I was able to drive, we would go everywhere, and we had to have a tire pump to pump up my wheels. And one time we were at Carly Clark's house at a slumber party, and we got our hands on a 12-pack, which between about 8 of us kind of did the job, but we didn't want our parents to hear us leaving because we were going to sneak out. So we all pushed my car down the street, and when we jumped in, one of the doors wouldn't shut. So we had to drive around town with the door open. I used to collect $0.25 a person for gas, and they pumped it for us. They checked the oil, they cleaned the windshields. It was nice. Those were better days.
Okay. Mary Helen Calderon. I was born and raised in Tempe, Arizona. I went to all the schools there, graduated, went to ASU. Then I worked for SRP, and I was a telecommunications manager, did a lot of traveling, and had 2 children. I have 3 grandsons, and I'm just enjoying not working anymore. And I don't know, I retired and I'm happy.
Paul Zelensky. I am retired, and I used to work in the aerospace industry. Secret stuff, but I can't tell you, or else I'll have to kill you. And I'm married, have 2 children and 3 grandchildren.
Hi everyone, it's Matt Benegas. I live in LA now. I've worked for the airlines all these years, for Air France and for Lufthansa, for Qantas. Retiring about 5 years ago, now everyone says, now it's my chance to travel, and I say, not a chance. So I got to stay home and enjoy myself.
Guys, with the days leading up to the reunion, what was going through your mind?
Oh my, I don't look anything like I did when I was 17. I said, oh, that size 8 is gone, long gone. But it was very, I was wondering if anybody was going to remember me or recognize me, and I'm finding that they do, even though they spelled my name wrong.
Mary Ellen. Well, you know, little things would pop into my mind. Some good, some bad. And some of the stories and some of the people, I was on the committee trying to find people for this reunion. And when I go through the yearbook and see their pictures, I say, sure, I remember these people, but then I'd try to call them, or I'd see people like Matt, and he says, well, he didn't used to have a beard, you know. But so anyhow, it was a fun experience. I learned, I had a good time.
And the last thing I thought, that's the reason I wore this button. I can't remember your name, but I remember your face.
Hey! We all made it. So glad to see you all here. Welcome to our 50th reunion.
Like in Tucson, every single school in Arizona would be there to watch us perform.
Was involved in theater, drama, and singing, and I was a mat maid
You have to find out what that is. And I was in student government a little bit.
I'm Karen DeKellis Cruz. Been married almost 50 years to my husband Albert. Went to ASU to get a biology degree. Met my husband instead. Got married, and we have 3 children and 7 grandchildren. I went into banking instead and was in banking for about 33 years, and has always lived here in the Valley. Thank you.
My name is Ron Fox, and I've been married for 42 years to my wife. She's a class of 71, and I started out in minor league baseball right out of high school and worked at ASU in the athletic department as well. Then I got lucky with the draft. I got the lottery, so I won that. So I spent 3 years in the military, in the Army as a medic and an x-ray technician. And right now, I work at the VA hospital downtown, and I've been there 36 years. I work as a x-ray tech in the cardiac cath lab.
I'm Doug Martin. Right out of high school, I went to ASU, and then I worked at the legislature for 10 years, and then I went into business for myself, sold my company back in 1996, and been a general contractor since then, building custom residential homes. Going to build for another couple of years, and then going to call it quits, and been married for 38 years to the same individual, and not cumulative. And we live in Payson, Arizona now, and love it up there.
Children?
No children. Double income, no kids.
Oh, wow. I'm Marianne Haywood Clark. I'm a retired school teacher and coach, and I have 3 children and 7 grandchildren.
Guys, thinking back to your high school days, let's say it was 1967, a Saturday night around 8 o'clock at night. Would you be at home doing homework, or would you be out doing something else?
No, we'd be at the football game.
We'd be in the knothole section at the football game.
Exactly.
I'd be selling soda in the stands at ASU football games. Yeah.
I'd be hanging in the knothole gang.
Hello, I'm Charlene Mills, Ashworth, and after graduating, I did teach school for several years while my husband went through law school. We have 9 children, 7 boys, 2 girls, 15 grandchildren, and I've continued to do some substitute teaching and also volunteer work as a CASA volunteer, court-appointed special advocate for neglected and abused children, and I love that work. But especially I love helping with grandchildren, and it's wonderful to be here with friends and great memories.
I'm John Wilson. I retired from carpentry about 20 years ago, and now I just live in Cottonwood, play a little music occasionally.
Bruce Cannon, retired, working 3 jobs, sort of. I live in Washington. I have a son in Flagstaff.
To the days before the reunion, what was going through your mind?
You know, it was fun to look at some of the old pictures, and especially the early memories of elementary school and those that we went all the way through school with and through Tempe High School. Just dear, sweet memories that I'll never forget and hope to remember.
Well, I'm just glad to run into all my old buds.
I was wondering if I was going to get awarded most weight gain, but I have some worthy competition here, so.
Well, I'm Steve Trimble. I was the senior class president, and this is a great 50th reunion. It's so wonderful to see everybody. And I grew up to be an engineer, and now I'm teaching at ASU.
Family, kids, anything?
Wonderful wife, 3 kids, and 2 grandkids.
Steve O'Neill. I was a photographer in high school, took a lot of the pictures in the annuals and the newspapers, and became an engineer by happenstance and worked for the airplane engine maker and then the airplane maker, and now retired in Sierra Vista. And I'm still busy, but nobody pays me anymore.
Family, kids, anything?
A daughter, and she lives right outside of Boston, and 3 grandkids.
Hi, I'm Barry McNaughton. I went to ASU and ASU Law School. Spent 12 years doing criminal prosecution and working for the Arizona Attorney General's office. then was an administrative law judge for the Department of Transportation for 21 years. Married 34 years to Janet. We have 2 children, son Adam, who is an assistant district attorney in Berks County, Pennsylvania, and a daughter who is graduating from University of Arizona this semester.
Guys, thinking back to your high school years, what were some of the clubs or activities you were involved in?
Well, I was on the tennis team, the Latin club, a lot of other activities too.
Mainly photography club, and people tell me I was in the science club, but I don't remember that.
I was really too shy to do very much in high school. I just hung out with these guys and a couple of others, and that was about it.
Fair enough. I'm John Boyd, and I'm retired, and I was in freeway work. I did concrete work on freeways.
Family, kids, anything?
I have a daughter who lives in California.
Paul DeGrande, I'm a substitute teacher at this time, retired for the last 5 years, and high school was great.
Frank Armenta, I don't do anything.
Joe Garner, retired construction. I have 3 boys and 4 granddaughters and 2 great-grandchildren. Thank you.
Dennis Roach, been retired for 9 years. All I do is play golf and hang out with grandkids. That's my job. Yeah, SRP and then a communications construction company.
Say it were a Saturday night around 8 o'clock, would you be?
We've been to UDI hanging out.
I never hung out. I never hung out. I was playing sports and trying to be a good guy.
What sports were you playing?
Basketball for a while. Damn Jack Smith. Okay, but anyway, yeah, everything's fine. Go ahead.
We were at the UDI hanging out. Johnny Boyd would be there with Ray Sayer, and we'd be with a different group, but we all knew each other, and it was great.
Yeah, it was the UDI. That was the place to be, and if we wasn't drinking and fighting, we were eating.
UDI. Had a lot of fun down there.
I'm Bruce Armstrong, and I've got 7 kids and 13 grandkids, and I've spent a career as a stockbroker with Dean Witter, and retired from that, and I'm semi-retired, and I'm working with Anderson Windows currently.
I'm Buddy Davis, and I worked for about 38 years with the Tempe Elementary School District. Retired in 2010, married, have 3 sons and 2 grandchildren.
Oh, hi, I'm Chris Cottle-Gaitner, and I'm married, have 2 girls and 2 granddaughters. I worked for 20 years for the Phoenix Suns, which was a fun job to have for many, many years. And just having a good time here at the 50-year reunion.
My name's Tim McBurney. Taught and coached football for 47 years. Tempe High School, 31 years at Tempe, and then at PSHAW High School. My wife is Joyce. She's with me tonight, and she works at the ASU Foundation. I got 3 boys. They're all supporting themselves, thank goodness. And retired now completely, and I fish, golf, and hunt.
I was wondering if I was going to recognize anybody, and of course 30 years since the last one with the 20. And by golly, I can recognize some of these wonderful classmates.
Well, we had a 10-year reunion and a 20-year reunion, and I was part of the 20-year reunion, but we haven't had anything since. And looking forward to the 50th, I was wondering if we were going to get together, anybody was going to take the lead, and lo and behold, we got a group together. We put it together, and we're having a wonderful time. And hopefully, many of us will be around for our 60th reunion.
I had no expectations. I just didn't have anything to do tonight. So I thought we'd show up, and I was hoping for the free drinks, but that didn't exactly work out. But the meal was excellent.
Yeah, it was good food. It was a good turnout last night. We had about 125 people that showed up, and so that was a good turnout. Tonight's obviously 115. That's a great turnout. So great 50-year reunion.
Because I believe that we grew up in the era of ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, I wanted to start with longest career in the field. 47 years in the same field? No? Oh. What was that? Okay. And 47 years in? Okay, so there it is. 49 years in healthcare. And that is Ted Selby. Okay, so I wanted to know, is there anybody who has adopted more than 2 children and they cannot be family members? Sharon Decker. Di Bartolomeo, can you stand up? Sharon has adopted 2 young ladies from Korea, and they are both, okay, Sharon, one is an immigration lawyer in Washington, D.C.?
No, in Minnesota.
In Minnesota. Go ahead and do the other one.
There's a biostatistician in California.
Okay, so. Okay, and the next award, I'll let you play that one. Okay. All right, this award is to somebody who has had the most foster children, and that's why the song "Help" is playing. And if you have had more than 3 foster children in your home, I think that this is one of the hardest parent jobs, especially when they're teenagers. But anyway, anybody with more than 3? All right, I'll claim that one. If you have been in the military, thank you for your service. Okay, if you were in the military, would you please stand up? Wanted to say thank you for your service. If you've been in the military, don't sit down yet. If you've been in the military longer than 10 years, hey, keep standing up. Yep. If you've been there longer than 15. Okay. Oh, we've got 2. RC and Lee. Okay, longer than 20? Oh my gosh! Okay, can all of you stand up if you're longer than 20, and we'll just give everybody a hand. Longer than 20. Everybody who's been married to a same spouse, would you please come out onto the field? We all know that marriage is a tough thing. So if you've been married to one single spouse and are still married, get out on the dance floor, please.
All right, so everybody 30 years and more, please keep dancing. If not, please step to the side. All right, and now 40 years. 40 years and more, please keep dancing. Oh, you guys are good. 45 years. All right, 46 years. Okay, 47 years. Oh, you guys are romantic. 48 years. 49 years. All right. And 50 years. Do we have any with 50 years by chance? So 49, it looks like. Round of applause, everybody. 49 years.
So over to our right, there is members of our class that have passed away. So if anybody wants to walk by, a lot of people I didn't even know or remember. Some of them happened right after high school, and some recently. Thank you.
My memory has to do with the Senior Slave Day activity that we had. For those of you who don't know, it was a fundraising thing for the senior class to contribute a gift towards the school, I guess. So when we had the auction where the seniors would get up on a table and there'd be an auctioneer and he'd auction off the seniors, and other seniors or underclassmen they could bid on these seniors. So we all go out to that quad area by the auditorium. And I was one of the first ones out there, and there's hardly anybody else out there. But they had the table up there, and the guy who was doing the auctioning at that time, I believe, was Paul DeGrande. I think he was up there.
Who is that asshole?
Yeah, who is that? He's right over there. I'm pointing him out, yeah. So he says, hey, Zelensky, come on up here. Now, I've got to say at this point that the guys that I hung around with, especially the basketball team, we never used our first names. It was always the last names. Now it's DeGrande and Zelensky. So he calls, Zelensky, come on up here. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So I get up there, and there's still nobody out there in the, so he starts the auctioning, and I don't know, 10 cents, and so it tops out at $1.50. $1.50. I felt a little bad about that, but since I was the first one, so far it was a high bid, So then, other guys get up there throughout the thing. So later in the day, when, we were kind of hanging around, guys, as they tend to do, they sort of compare things, and I go, well, how much, Buddy Davis, how much did you go for? Well, $18, Ted Selby, $20, Paul DeGrande, $30, and they're going, Zelensky, what'd you go for? $1.50. How much? All right, $1.50. I was the first one up there. There was, reasons. So anyhow, a week later, when we actually had the Senior Slave Day, whoever bought you, they could dress you up and they could make you do things, carry books, buy lunches and stuff like that. So there was a group of 3 girls who bought me. There was 50 cents. Yeah, they used their lunch money to help me. But anyhow, but it was Pat Wright, who was in our class, her sister Pam, and one of their friends, and so they all wanted me to, carry their books and all that stuff, and between classes. So they, in the morning, they dressed me up in a dress a wig and a hat, and I think they painted freckles on my face, you know, so I looked, you know, really gorgeous. So I thought, well, you know, if I've got to run around to wherever their classes are and get their books and carry them and then buy lunches and stuff, well, I can't be carrying my books at the same time. So I left my books in the locker room, you know, and so it was working out pretty well until I got into Mr. D's class. It's funny that Ted mentioned about Mr. D because, you know, Ted has these fond memories of Mr. D, but my memories were a little different, you know. So I'm sitting in Mr. D's English class, you know, and he's doing whatever lesson he did. And he says, he calls on me to either read something out of my book or, you know. I said, I don't have my book, you know. Sort of a screw-off day, you know. We were just going to have fun today, so I didn't bring my books, you know. So he comes right over and he starts reading me the Riot Act. And there I am sitting with this freckle face and a wig, dress, and he's over there looking down. Well, he was actually not looking down because when I sat, he was about eye level. But he was giving me the Riot Act about, you know, how I didn't take his class seriously and all that. And, well, you know, I was quiet, you know, anyhow, as a, you know, the way I was. I didn't talk much, as Paul DeGrande points out to me many times. So there I am, you know, getting reamed out by him, and all the other guys in the class, they're all looking and saying, man, I'm glad I brought my books to class today. Anyhow, that's my, you know, memory of, you know, so you can tell how it affected me, you know, in my life. You know. I remember Mr. D vividly, just the way Ted does. So.
All pick up your copy of the Buffalo articles, because on the last page is a picture of Mr. D with his class, his favorite students who are looking at, they dedicated the annual to him. And you'll notice that the guy right back here just beaming at Mr. D is our own Paul Zielinski.
Everybody's talking about fond memories of high school. And I would bet even money that everybody in this class that's here tonight had somebody that they had a secret crush on. Right? I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. You had a crush on somebody and you probably never acted on it. Well, I thought since we're having this gathering and there's going to be a lot of people here, I might as well recognize some of the people that I had a crush on. So to make, you know, to take it real quickly, would all of the women from the class stand up? I had to clear that with my wife. Some of us have been talking, and as you know, 50 years is a long time. And we're at that age where, as you can tell by the board over there, some of us may not be here in 10 years, or 15 or 20. Our class has never been very good at having reunions. The last one we had was 30 years ago. I know if we have another one in 30 years, I'll lay even money that I won't be here. But a couple of us were talking, and the idea came up, maybe we should think about having one starting now every 5 years. It doesn't have to be quite as formal. It doesn't have to be quite as expensive, but we could do it. The other thing that some of us have talked about is getting together maybe quarterly. If you're in Tempe or Mesa or Gilbert or Chandler or wherever, or if you're going to be in town from Colorado or Minnesota or wherever, we'll just set a date and say on such and such a date, we're going to meet for pizza and beer or whatever. And if you can make it, great. If you can't, great. Hopefully you can make the next one. So just kind of mull it over, talk amongst your other friends, and just consider it.
I know you're all probably wondering, who's that old guy and why is he up there? I was wondering the same thing. The reason I wanted to come up here is that, everything wasn't peaches and roses in high school. And especially if you were playing sports at Tempe High School. I don't want to say they were losers, but, the Buffaloes had a rough time in football and baseball. Basketball, that was a different story. They were like the Warriors. So anyway, I had a couple of things happen that have always haunted me to this day. I'll probably take them to my grave. It was our first year. We were going to play McClintock. And I'm sitting out there with the rest of the football team, and the coach says, okay, we're going to have a pep rally, and, everybody's going to be cheering us on, and we got to win this game. And Armenta, you, and I forget who else he said, you're going to be the captains. I'm like, what? Why? I didn't say that, but that's what I thought. So anyway, we go into the gym, and it's just jam-packed. And, of course, we had to sit in the middle of the floor looking up, going, what the hell's going on? What are we here? So anyway, at some point, they said, okay, we want the two captains to come up. And I'm like, oh, my God. It's like coming up here. It's like, I never did that. I never did anything in high school. All I did was play football and baseball. Nothing else. I was telling somebody, I think it was Bruce Armstrong last night. They were talking about Tim and Tim McBurney about kissing. I'm not going to say who the twins were, but they were kissing them in 7th grade and all that. And I'm like looking at them. And then I said, hey, wait a minute. I said, hey, man, I didn't get kissed till I was like a senior in high school. I didn't have time. So anyway, I go up there, and I forget who the other captain, I apologize, but he goes up there and he makes this real nice speech and all that, and I'm sitting up there, what am I going to say? And finally it came time for me to come up there. And all I remember saying is that, I don't know what the score's going to be tonight, but we're going to win. And we lost. 3-2. To McClintock. I've never been able to live that embarrassment down. Okay, that's it for football. Next thing, moving on past basketball to baseball. We were having an okay year. Jeff Schweitzer and I were talking about it last night. We had a lot of good players on our team. Why couldn't we win, no? Neil, we're seniors. We're playing in Scottsdale. We're beating them 5-4. The bases are loaded. It's the bottom of the 7th. Their last bats. There's 2 outs. All we had to do is get 1 out, and we were going to win. So I'm playing shortstop. And I didn't want to play shortstop, but Coach Younger says, do you want to play or not? Shortstop. I said, okay, so I went there. So this guy the batter hits a ball right at me. And all I could think of was we're going to win. So I go like this, and then all of a sudden I turn around, the ball's going out. I'm toward the field, and the guy on third scored easily, and the guy that was on second went in, and we come off the field, we lost. And all I can remember Coach Younger saying, he's looking at me, and he goes, Frank, don't be too hard on yourself.
The basketball deal, if you remember, we were kind of good at that time. To Sam Dwayne, right? Sam Dwayne, now he's in his 2nd year. And we were rated number 4 in the state to start the year. And then we're going to play McClintock for the first time at ASU. And unbelievably, Jim Sturgeon, we were just talking about this the other day, he goes, hey, they may be number 4 in the state, but we're number 1 in Tempe. And then they said, we've got people that'll shut down Kevin English. And of course, Kevin was awesome. So there were like 3,000, I don't know, 4,000 people at ASU. We're just fired up. We're fired up all week practicing. And of course, some of those kids had gone over to McClintock that used to play with us the first 2 years. Floyd Ortega was great. Bill Lame, some of these other guys. Opening jump. They're not in the right spot. Selby jumps up, tips it to Kevin. I go down, make a layup. We're up 2-0. Next guy comes out. Somehow we steal it. 2-0. 4-0. All of a sudden, at the end of the first quarter, it's 19-1 of Buffaloes. 19-1 Buffaloes. We beat them by 30 points. No one played in the fourth quarter. Sam Duane, who was a great coach, he goes, I'm going to let you guys hot dog it one time. We're walking right in front of the McClintock people and say, we're number one in Tempe. And then we beat them by 30. We're number one in Tempe. So there, we got to throw a little basketball story in there.
I want to talk a little bit about one of our classmates who is not here. You may remember we had a Belgian foreign exchange student, Martha Franken, who was with us our senior year. Last month, my wife and I saw her in Belgium. We happened to be there, and thanks to Steve Baker, I found out I was able to contact her ahead of time. He had an email address for her, so we spent an afternoon with her. She was married and divorced young. She worked for the Belgian government for a long time. Excuse me. She retired in 2009. She used to be the Belgian representative to EU meetings in Strasbourg, the pseudo capital of the EU. She's very happy, and she lives in Bruges now, or just outside of Bruges. We had a great time spending the afternoon with her, and she is aware of this and has said she couldn't come back now, but she hopes to come back sometime in the not too distant future and visit Tempe again. So,
Tempe High was known for something, right? Tempe High was known for its arts department. We put on some plays that would bring in crowds. All of you, most of you, were a part of those events. Being part of the committee, one of the things we were able to do, Tim took us to the school one day, and we got to walk around the school. Now, what a really strange place was the cafeteria. I think it was the only time I ever walked through the cafeteria, because we were on the other side of the street doing something fun. But you know, when you were in the music department, and my mom would not let me play football, so I played a saxophone, and I played in the #1 band in the state of Arizona. Okay? That band was so good, and we were so good that when we performed in Tucson, every other band in the state filled the stands to see what we would do. Played on the band that was the very first band from Arizona ever to play halftime at a National Football League game. It wasn't the only thing. I mean, the choral department was astounding. Astounding. So maybe we weren't really good. In fact, I was meeting with some people this morning. The guy was from Mesa High, and he was giving me a hard time. He says, we always killed you guys. I said, what? No, you didn't. I can tell you a story about, we were going to Mesa one day, and everybody's piled in the van. We were piling the buses, and we're all going there. We ran over a sousaphone. We killed it. I mean, it flattened it out. It could never be used again. So they took that sousaphone, and it ended up being a shrine in the band department. When we were going to San Diego, you know, that group of people would practice really, really early in the morning. We'd be out there on the football field practicing. I'm telling you, the drum line I saw guys that had welts on their hands because they moved when they weren't supposed to. Okay? It was crazy. But music, arts, is something that stays with you for your whole life. It just stays there forever. So, you know, Tempe had some really great things. We had some great teachers and that type of stuff. Who had a great teacher? You know, who are your great teachers? You know, that music department, we were the first band. We actually had music that was designed for us to play the very first concert at Grady Gamage. I have grandkids now that are in high school, just starting to go to high school. And I happen to have records, some of the records that we made. And they're in band, they're in music, a couple of them. And I said, you want to hear this? Well, listen to this. What? I said, yeah. It was really good. I surprised myself. I said, how do we do that? You know? But it was really something to be a part of. It made you feel part of a team. There were a lot of teams at school. Hopefully each one of us had the opportunity to be a part of a team that changed your life. You know, this class, this group of people, understand that you have been together since we were in kindergarten. I got married the first time in kindergarten. I'm telling you, she's right here with us today. I'm the only guy here that has 2 wives here. But, you know, I mean, we're probably one of the very last classes, because it's in Tempe, at that time in our life, we were right there in the midst of an explosion. Just the city itself exploded. And we were the last group to really and truly be together. Think about it today. Think about today in the families that you have. How many people, how many times do you have somebody in your family that has spent their entire life hooked together? You know, the fun part about doing all of this and having all you guys here is calling you up on the phone and saying, here's a voice from your past. It's really fun to do. You ought to try to do that. The last thing I want to share with you is this. There's some things on your table. Those are rosters. That's everybody that we had in the class. And on that roster is as much information as we have for everybody that we have in the class. And you're going to see, number one, that there are some blanks. We need your help to fill in the blanks. So take the time to do that. The other thing I will tell you is that that file, that document, is available to anybody because we have it saved digitally, and we'll be more than happy to send it out to anybody that would like to have it. Be a great way to touch base with somebody that you haven't talked to in 50 years.
On behalf of the Tempe High Marching Band, I want to thank everybody for supporting us in high school. Both my kids went to Tempe High, and Coach McBurney taught both of them. And so we actually, as band parents, worked the concession stands, you know, to help our kids out. Well, my goal in life was to teach every freshman that worked in the concession stand to sing the fight song, which was very difficult because they had no idea what I was talking about. So I want to invite all the pommies and the cheers up right now. Wait, listen, I normally didn't sing the fight song, I played the flute, so. Yeah, really. All right, so any more pommies? Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Sally, I know. You guys all remember the fight song, right? Yes. See? Come on, hold on. Are you guys ready to cheer? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hail to our fighting team.
cheer them along the way. Onward to victory, may we win again today. So give a cheer for our fighting team, long may they reign supreme. Shout till the echoes ring for the glory of Tempe.
Remember our dances after football games and throughout the school year? Well, we were fortunate enough to have our own rock band during that time, the Hearstmen. And if you've been watching this slideshow at all, you've seen some photos. And John Wilson probably was. Were you the lead singer? No. Well, they did the best version cover of Satisfaction that I ever heard. John, why don't you stand up and let everybody thank you?
Follow up on the trip to San Diego. That was something else. And the thing that was funny was the sailors heard that there were 70 high school girls in a hotel in downtown San Diego. And I think the teacher slept in front of the elevators to keep them from getting up on the floor with us. And the one thing I remember, and it wasn't me, because I was very shy at that time, is the girls that had their black choir dresses on and they pretended they were nuns. And we were talking down over, because we were on balconies and all these sailors were down there walking by and stuff, and the girls were like, hey, and all that stuff. Well, they had these soldiers almost crying because they had them feeling so bad that they were trying to pick up a bunch of nuns. That was great. Choir was really, really probably the highlight of my high school, was being in the choir with blood, sweat, and tears, and being scared to death that Kenneth Wells was going to point at me and tell me I was flat. You don't know, And but choir was without a doubt the highlight of high school. But that trip to San Diego was, I know, and the nuns were.
All praise to Tempe High School, your memories we hold dear. We never shall forget you, though we be far or near. And while our halls are ringing with our last victory cheer, your memories will be sacred through our remaining years.
Hi, I'm Ted Selby, and for the past 50 years, 49 of those I've been in healthcare. In the last 36 years, I practice emergency medicine. I've got 6 kids, 3 girls, 3 boys, and I've got 6 grandkids, and life has been good.
Ted, thinking back to your high school years, what are some of the fondest memories that you have?
Probably the fondest memories that I have are having the privilege of playing basketball for Coach Dwayne. It was tough. He was tough, but he was what we needed. The camaraderie that we had. Well, things were difficult at times, but we also had some great times. And as I said in my invocation, I'm really thankful for having had all of you woven into the tapestry of my life.
And Ted, what are some final words that you'd like to tell the folks that were not able to attend tonight?
There's one in particular I want to address this to, John Llewellyn. Wherever you are out there, brother, I miss you. I hope you're doing well.
Dreams that you dream of once in